Oh, I've been looking forward to this. Hello everyone and welcome to Rewind Reviews, and happy 4th anniversary to this channel. I mean, it's a couple of days over, but yeah. But I thought this was a good opportunity to wear this for the first time. Got it as a Christmas present, it's not actually an official merch thing or anything. Anyway, in this video we are taking a look at one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and that is Project Hail Mary. Released in 2026 and based on the best-selling novel by Andy Weir, Project Hail Mary sees science teacher Ryland Grace waking up alone on a spaceship light years from Earth. As his memory returns, he uncovers a mission to stop a mysterious substance from killing the sun and save Earth, and an unexpected friend may be the key. Adapted for screen by Drew Goddard and directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, the movie stars Ryan Gosling, Sandra Hüller, James Ortiz, Lionel Boyce, Milana Vaintrub and Ken Lung. I have been really excited about this movie and it's finally out. Now you might be thinking the reason why is because I'm a fan of the book. It isn't, and I haven't actually read it. To my shame! I first became aware of this movie when the first trailer dropped. I even covered it in a trailer talk video. It sounded interesting, I do like a good sci-fi movie, Ryan Gosling's in it, so I had a look. And then I saw who was involved in the making of this. It turned out that Lord and Miller were in the director's chair, the same guys best known for the Spider-Verse trilogy and several other projects that I love. It was based on a book by Andy Weir who wrote The Martian, which got turned into one of my all-time favourite sci-fi movies. And this was being adapted by Drew Goddard, the same person who wrote the screenplay for The Martian. Yep, this is an instant must-watch. I became properly excited about this movie and I was really looking forward to checking it out when it released. I have also got a few friends who have read the book and they've all said that it's one of their absolute favourites. So the hype was real. So I went to go and see this on opening day in IMAX and it was packed, which is so rare for a non-franchise IP movie. And this could legitimately be a contender for Movie of the Year. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone considering who's involved in this. But this was genuinely amazing, and at this point in time, it is my favourite movie of the year so far. I've seen it twice now, and I'm contemplating a third time as well. It follows the story of Grace, played by Ryan Gosling, who wakes up alone on a spaceship called the Hail Mary light years away from Earth, with no memory of who he is, how he's on board the ship, and why he's meant to be there. As time goes on, he begins to remember everything, which we see via flashbacks, including his mission, which is to travel across the galaxy to investigate a mysterious substance that is causing our sun to burn out. But on his journey, he encounters an unlikely companion in the form of a rock-based alien he names Rocky, who is there for the same reasons. Striking up a strange friendship, the two of them work together to try and find a way to save both of their worlds. The actual plot for Project Hail Mary is pretty straightforward and easy to follow, even with all the science talk. It is a huge film with a pretty epic scale, like this is a proper blockbuster, but the story for it is quite character-driven. The main focal point is on these two characters doing this mission. It feels and looks like a pretty immense sci-fi tale, but it never loses that focus. You really begin to grow to care and empathise with these two characters through several touching character moments, and lots of humour, and you want to see what happens to them. You get properly swept up and invested in this really immersive journey, and I had a great time with it. I was kind of expecting a little bit more of a sense of impending dread about the sun potentially dying, but that's not really the kind of movie this is. It does have a few elements of a race against time kind of movie, but that's not really what this is. The dread that you do feel while watching this movie comes from the question of whether or not Grace and Rocky are going to survive. When I saw the trailers, I did pick up on how I thought this movie was going to get told, and how it was going to use flashbacks to kind of show how Grace ended up on the ship. And I did wonder how it was going to balance both the space sequences and the flashbacks on Earth, because this movie basically has two timelines playing simultaneously, and it's presented in a way that makes sense. It's basically Grace's memories coming back to him. They're timed just right, they don't overstay their welcome, and there is a good mix of them as well. And I think that both segments, both the stuff on Earth and the stuff in space, are both equally entertaining. They're just as entertaining as each other for different reasons. I know there are some people who have said that they weren't the biggest fans of the Earth-based stuff, and I can kind of understand why. Like, there's one scene where Grace and Rocky are starting to bond with each other, and then it cuts back to what's going on Earth. And I was kind of like, but I kind of want to see what's going on with them. But I really liked a lot of the Earth-based stuff because it is really important and relevant to the plot. And it helps to highlight and showcase what Grace is like before he ends up on the Hail Mary. And it gets you to understand why it is that he's there. And on top of that, a lot of those scenes are really entertaining. This whole movie is so entertaining and funny that I don't think there's any way that you couldn't enjoy this. This is one of the most entertaining films of the year so far. Funny is also a word that I think is going to get used to describe this movie quite a bit. Much like The Martian, this is classed first and foremost as a drama. And while the drama is excellent, this is really funny. By far the funniest movie I've seen of the year so far. It's directed by Lord and Miller, I should have known. But even so, it did come as a bit of a surprise. And while I think that some people may have issues with how much humour is in this, or how goofy it can get, I don't think it detracts the movie, and it never undermines or lessens the darker dramatic moments. It all comes from character or as a result of a situation. So to me, it feels quite natural. It has some great dialogue and visual gags, and it was amazing hearing so many people laughing both times I went to see this. There really is some genuinely funny moments in this, and I don't think there was a single gag that didn't hit. bit. Now that's impressive. But speaking of the drama, this does have some really good tension-filled sequences. The way those sequences are shot, the way they're edited together, the sound design, everything else about them, they're executed perfectly. There's even one scene that felt directly out of Alien, made a few of the people behind me jump, but it also has plenty of emotional and intimate scenes as well, and some of them brought a lump to my throat. It's never too much of one thing or the other, and I do think that everything is balanced out really well. I did see some reviews calling this emotionally manipulative, and I just don't get it. It's not wrong to feel something for a film. Honestly, I had a wonderful experience with this film. It felt like a proper blockbuster, one of those must-see movies that everyone needs to go and see. And even better, everyone at both my screenings were properly respectful. I had one guy sitting on one side who was like rustling wrappers and all sorts during some of the quiet moments, but at least it was quick. But honestly, regarding this movie, I genuinely couldn't be happier with it. I suppose I need to mention the characters now. Ryan Gosling stars as Ryland Grace, and he is genuinely on top form. I wonder if one of the things that swayed them to cast him in this movie is the fact that he shares the same initials. Anyway, Grace, for the majority of the film, is the only human that we see, and Ryan essentially has to carry the film and the more emotional segments, and he nails it. And with his natural charisma and comedic timing, he makes his performance as Grace feel very believable and naturally funny, and he's able to fully sell the friendship he builds up with Rocky. And I also really like how Grace's background in teaching comes into play. Some may say he's a bit too goofy or a bit incompetent at times, but, and he even says it himself, he's not an astronaut, and there is a reason why he is aboard the Hail Mary, and that gets answered later on in the film. It makes sense, and it does make for a good surprise. I thought he was brilliant, and Grace is a really likeable lead, and I really love his astronaut suit as well. This is one of those movies where pretty much every character is likeable, even some of the more minor ones. It is primarily focused on Grace and Rocky, but we do get a lot of scenes on Earth and do get to meet the scientists working on Project Hail Mary. My favourite was Lionel Boyce as Carl, the security man. He's very straight-laced but very funny, and I love his scenes with Grace, especially when they go shopping. I really loved Sandra Hewler as Eva Stratt, who's one of the main heads working on Project Hail Mary, and the reason why Grace gets involved. She's the most prominent other human character we get to meet in the film, and she helps add some proper weight behind the reason for Project Hail Mary, and she's certainly one of the most important characters other than Grace and Rocky, as most of the characters all meet through her. Plus, while she may not be quite as funny as the others, and played pretty straight for the most part, she does have some very funny lines and does get a few opportunities to drop the barriers, and they're really good. Sandra nails every component of Eva, and I thought that she was fantastic overall. We don't get to spend a lot of time with the other astronauts, but I really enjoyed what both Ken Lung and Milana Vaintrub brought to the film. They're both really likeable characters and both played really well. All of these characters are integrated into the story in a very natural way, and I think that all the actors are giving some really decent and believable performances. And that, of course, includes Rocky. I won't lie, when he popped up in the first trailer, I was a little surprised to see an alien in this, but he honestly became my favourite character in the film. He's this rock-based crab-like extraterrestrial called an Eridian, who joins Grace on his mission as his own son faces the same problem as ours. And he is by far one of the best parts of the film. He's extremely likeable and has some of the funniest moments in the film, especially the scenes where him and Grace start to learn how to communicate. It's actually quite a cleverly done sequence where Rocky and Grace start to interact with each other. It is quite a long sequence, and I can see some people saying that maybe it drags a little bit, but for me, it was one of the more entertaining aspects. How that section is handled, all the dialogue, all the science that goes into it, all the humour, I do think that it is one of the more entertaining sequences. And when he is on screen, I love how he's been brought to life. It's a mixture of CG and puppetry, and it really helps to make him feel like a real creature. His design is very well thought through and detailed, with clues and engravings all along his body that help tell us a little bit about his backstory and history. I like how they address and explore his atmosphere problems in relation to ours, and how he constantly needs to be in containers and capsules in order to survive. And the way that he communicates, it's, I want to say like a woodwind R2-D2, but we also get an artificial voice by James Ortiz, and he's brilliant and able to convey so much with his tone of voice. Rocky is absolutely brilliant, and as I said, he is easily one of the best parts of this film. I do remember seeing some people in the comments for the first trailer saying that they think that Rocky should never have been revealed in the marketing because it's a big twist, and I'm quoting here. First of all, is it? And second, he's essentially the co-lead of this movie, with his friendship with Grace forming the emotional backbone of the film. Why would you want to hide that? And I honestly think that a lot of people would have been taken aback if they didn't know he was in this. So I am glad that they did. Plus, you'd hear all the book fans going, wait, Rocky isn't in this? Anyway, it kind of goes without saying, but the sound design and sound mixing for both Rocky and the rest of the movie is absolutely flawless. It's absolutely fantastic and very immersive, especially with surround sound. So if you do see this, make sure that you've got a good sound system. This even has a few vacuum moments when Grace is in space, and I love those moments. It's scientifically accurate and it's an effect that I absolutely love. And then on top of that, this is a dazzling film with some jaw-dropping visuals, lighting and cinematography that's near impossible to look away from. I wouldn't expect anything less from Greg Fraser. This is honestly one of the best looking sci-fi movies of the past few years. It's absolutely gorgeous and creatively framed. If you can, see this in IMAX. This is a movie that is designed for cinema experiences. And I do get that money is quite tight for everyone these days, and that's completely fair. But if you can, and only if you can, do it. It is absolutely worth it. This is a movie that is worth your time. And I really hope when it comes out on Blu-ray and 4K that they do try and keep that aspect ratio. It's used well, and I like how the IMAX format is used for all the space sequences and traditional widescreen for everything on Earth. There's some clever transitions between the two, and I like how they bleed together. I don't know if that aspect ratio is maintained and consistent across all formats or if it's all just in widescreen. But trust me, if you can, it is worth it. And as for the visual effects, they're honestly that good that there were several sequences that I did question how they were made. This is a very practical movie. As I said, Rocky was partially brought to life with puppetry, and apparently, according to Lord & Miller, this doesn't feature any green screen. Well, that settles it then. They obviously went into space. Nah, I think it was either a type of volume or projections. Either way, it looks incredible. And I wouldn't rule out them using one of those zero-G planes for a few sequences as well. But I could be wrong. The effects are integrated really well. They're very well used and help to sell the immersion. And I love the light effect that they use to represent the astrophage, which is this microorganism that they use for fuel, and also happens to be dimming the sun. It's really cool and does lead to some amazing visuals. This also has some amazing music from composer Daniel Pemberton. I kind of had a feeling that it was going to be him when I started listening to the soundtrack for this movie. It does have a bit of a Spider-Verse flair to it in a few scenes. There's a couple that sounded like Interstellar as well, so I was kind of torn between either Daniel Pemberton or Hans Zimmer. It has a slightly weirdly modern alien kind of sound to it while still sounding like an old school sci-fi film. And like the Interstellar soundtrack, it's able to underscore the smaller, more intimate moments and the bigger epic scale sequences. It sounded incredible, and I definitely had to listen to it after I watched the film. And also, like The Martian, it does have quite a few pop songs that are integrated into the story. They're woven into it in a way that helps tell the story and keep the mood quite light. There's some excellent choices, and I love how they're used. And I think there might have been a few Beatles fans that worked on this. It honestly is an amazing soundtrack, and it is worth a listen to. Overall, this was an incredible film that met my expectations and then some. It's funny, immersive, dramatic, and so much more, with fantastic characters and performances, music and visuals. This was definitely worth the wait. I understand if some people have issues with the pacing, the comedy, and the way the story is told, but that stuff didn't bother me at all. I genuinely had an amazing time with this. It blew me away both times I've seen it. I really loved it. It's easily one of the best sci-fi films of the past few years, and I would honestly say that this is a must-watch. And if you can, please see this on the big screen. This, so far, is my favourite film of the year, and I can't wait to watch it again. So with all that being said, my rating for Project Hail Mary is, without question, a 10 out of 10. I haven't given one of those in a while. It feels good. Right, that is pretty much everything I want to say in this video, so thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy this content, please be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and let me know down below what you think of the movie. And what Andy Weir book would you like to see adapted next? Plus, if you have any ideas or suggestions for future Rewind reviews, let me know down below. And just before I finish, I just want to very quickly say thank you to everyone who has supported this channel over the past 4 years. It's had its ups and downs, and I know that I'm not the most consistent YouTuber when it comes to uploading content, but don't forget I am working a full-time job as well, and it is hard to balance the two, so I am trying my best. But honestly, all the support that you guys have given me over the past 4 years, it has meant a lot. And seeing people interacting with both the channel and the videos, it has helped me to keep going. So here's to year 5, whatever that may bring. Thank you for everything, and with that, I'll see you next time on Rewind Reviews. See you guys.